Hello everyone. Welcome to chapter 136. This one titled Mafia May in November, and it is the first episode of season 10. And oddly enough, with just 2 days remaining, the last episode of 2023. I'm actually glad it happened like this because I wanted to talk about Mafia May in November, but if it been the first episode of 2024, there is a strong urge to talk about, 2023. Yeah, oddly enough. Let me just jump to a few things very quickly. My drink today is pomegranate and sour cherry mix. I am drinking this on an empty stomach, so wish me luck. I mean, it tastes amazing. It genuinely tastes amazing. But yeah, the fact that I'm drinking this on an empty stomach is not really good. I don't know why I sound sick or stuffy. I have a stuffy nose, but yeah, I'm not sick. It's just allergies mostly, and I hope I don't get sick anytime soon. So, if you listen to this special chapter, which if you haven't, there is a link for it down in the description. You probably know that the month of November and December has been busy, like incredibly busy, especially in the lifetime of this show because this show started life in the quarantine where I had a lot of free time. Now it feels like, oh, we are genuinely getting busy and life is starting again, which is not always good. Sorry, my nose is itching like crazy. I don't know why. Um, so yeah. Um, there is a lot of stuff that I need to do, and there's a lot of stuff that I did do in the time between the episodes. We made a movie. I was the second assistant director in that. The director of that movie is actually the guest for the a special chapter. Again, there's a link for it in the description. Uh, and there are a lot of other stuff that I needed to do, and a lot of stuff that I said I will do and I didn't. For example, the video for the last for We Didn't Start the Fire Part 2 is not out yet. You might have guessed, and it's because it's not done editing yet. I actually completely given up on that. I will talk about it more in the last week. No, next week's episode. Why did I say last? Next week's episode, where I'll be discussing my end of the year retrospective and plans for 2024. It's gonna be very fun. Um, I am once again holding the microphone. I don't know why. I should be sitting behind the desk, but it's messy. So, um, let's discuss Mafia May in November. Now, if you look in the description, above the link to the a special chapter, you will find a link to a PDF document which contains Mafia May in November. Now, what is Mafia May in November? Well, you have all rights to be confused because I didn't do it in 2022. Okay, in 2020, November of 2020, I did something called Musical March in November, in which I made a chart with 30 randomly generated words. I used an online random word generator and assigned a word to a day in November. When I did that, afterwards, I spent the whole of November each day introducing a movie based on those words. They were like prompts for that movie. For example, let me see if I can remember any of them off the top of my head without needing to look them up. I think observation was a cabaret because in cabaret, observing is an important thing. Um, yeah, that's the one I remember. And in 2021, I did it again, this time for Westerns, and it was Western August in November, which again I made a chart of 30 randomly generated words, and this time I introduced the Western. And these are generally good stuff for me as a fan of genre movies because it means for 30 days I have to devote a considerable amount of time, honestly, to movies of a certain genre. And after each of them, I feel like I'm a little bit more proficient in that genre because I spent so many time thinking about them, discussing them, and analyzing them. Um, I didn't do it in 2022 because November of 2022 was very close to September of 2022. And if you don't know what happened then, you should go and listen to season 7 of The Last Thoughts of a Busy Mind, because it was a crazy time. Incredibly crazy time. I don't want to talk about it right now. We are here to talk about something a little bit uplifting, which is 30 Mafia movies. Why did I choose Mafia? Um, Honestly, okay. So the last two, 2020 and 2021, I did musicals and westerns, which are two of my favorite genres of all time. So like that was easy for me. I can do 30 movies of that genre right now. But when those two ended, I realized that I can either go back and do like Musical March in November Part 2, or I need to find a genre which I know I probably am not the biggest fan of. Now, Mafia movies are incredibly interesting in that regard, in that when I watch a Mafia movie, for example, one of the movies that actually appeared in the month, Bugsy, I thought I was gonna hate that movie. I went in, I said, "Oh, I'm gonna hate this." The same is true for Hoffa. The same is true for The Irishman. The same is true for some of the bigger names, like Once Upon a Time in America. I always think I'm going to hate a mafia movie. Even the older ones, like when I went to watch the original Scarface, which does not appear in the month. The new one does, but the old one doesn't. Or White Heat. I thought, "Oh, I'm gonna hate these movies," and then I ended up enjoying them a lot. Like my second favorite movie of all time is The Godfather. It's a mafia movie. So I realized that's an interesting genre, and I have to force myself to talk about that. So throughout the month, in my personal Telegram channel, because I have to, if I realized that Telegram outside of Iran doesn't have a very good reputation, but I mean inside of Iran, I believe it's probably the better messaging app than like WhatsApp and stuff like that. I mean, it has certainly has a lot more um, tools and services and like features. But yeah, I have a personal channel that it's been going on for quite a while actually. I think it started in 2019. But as I was saying, while I have that, I started writing text entries in them too. Text entries that discussed these movies in length, like why did I choose them? Are they good or bad? Do I recommend them? And what are the merits or disqualification factors of each movie? And I did them every day. Now, as I said, November and December have been very busy for me. Not only was I part of a movie, which does take quite a lot of time, even if I'm not director, I'm assistant director, it still takes it takes quite a lot of time and effort on my part. I'm sorry, then my nose is driving me crazy. I don't know what is wrong with it right now. And hopefully I'm not coughing anytime soon. Um, and on top of that, there are a lot of myriad of other projects that I needed to work on, including my own movie, which will be happening soon, by the way. Next week will be the first pre-production meeting. I probably will talk about it more as this season goes on. Season 10, by the way. Season 10. I can't believe it. I'll talk about it more in the next week episode as well, because this one I'm gonna keep it more focused on Mafia May in November. But yeah, So a lot of them I barely missed because they need to happen in the day, and like I uploaded or published the text on like 11:58 p.m. Not because I couldn't, like I wasn't mentally ready, because some of the ones in Western August in November, which was in 2021, I just couldn't. Like I mentally wasn't able to. These I was mentally able to. I just wasn't at home. I wrote more than one of them on my phone, which isn't ideal. I wrote more than one of them outside of my room, like when I was in production meeting or when I was in my girlfriend's house. I just wrote them, which was less than ideal. Not because there is I can, but the text lengths and text qualities definitely weren't the same. The biggest victim in this case was Hoffa. Now, when you read the document, you probably won't see any difference, because I went through them and I added text and I refined text to make it better in general, like get rid of misspellings and grammar errors, and also add text and add context and subtext, that just like words ending in text. And part of me is conflicted about that. On one hand, it's not a real archive of the stuff that I wrote throughout November, but that archive is on Telegram, and this one is another project in and of itself, the PDF, and it's one that I want to have its own identity. Like the introduction that I wrote for it is unique to it as well. And do you want to see how busy I am? The last two, Musical March in November and Western August in December, in November, why did I say December? From 2020 and 2021, which, by the way, they all have respective episodes. I probably will link them in the description as well for you to check them out. Those two, those two also had accompanying PDF documents which compiled all of the text and added an introduction and all of that. But they were done by like December 2nd, like end of November, November 30th, the last movie, December 2nd. There is the PDF document and a poll on my channel which asks which movies people have seen. This one, and as if things couldn't go wrong there, if you notice the sudden jump, it's because my voice recorder lost power. It ran out of battery. So, as I was saying, sorry about that. As I was saying, I completely forgot what I was saying. This is a problem with doing these like off the cuff. It makes it more real, definitely, but there are issues like this. Let me see if I can remember what I was talking about. But, as I was saying, like I want these to be separate projects. The PDF files I want it to be separate projects, and I make all of them a couple of days after December 2nd. This one was done in December 26th, like a day after Christmas. By the way, this year, like today is one of my busier days. I'm recording this at 11. Right now is 11:13 a.m. And the reason for that is I have to go out. One of my friends is living in Iran, thankfully. And then I have to come back, and we're going to watch It's a Wonderful Life, which is a movie I watched on December 25th. But this time I thought, let's push it to the nearest Friday because I'm going to watch it with my friends, which is always fun. So, anyways, as I was saying, this is the amount of like work that I had to do, so that I couldn't even get this done by December 25th. So yeah, it took a long time, and in general I feel like I'm getting a little bit swamped with my own work, to the point that sometimes it's it's not good. But in terms of Mafia May in general, I enjoyed it. I had a great time with it, mostly because, as I said, I managed to dedicate a quite huge chunk of time to a movie genre, one that, as I said, have a complicated relationship with. And when you do that, it's really good. And for someone like me who has OCD and GAD, um, it's a really good way of like putting a pin to a day. Like I think I remember each day of November. If I look at the movie that I wrote for them, I remember half of which I frantically wrote in the car to post it before 12 a.m. I remember Donnie Brasco that I wrote. I remember the one that I wrote for Goodfellas, which I bungled that really hard as well. The text for the PDF is good, but the one in the channel was not very good. So I remember each of them. There's a memory associated. Now, this is what I like to call a cursed production. Sorry if you heard another jump there. I ran out of batteries again, if you can believe that. This is a cursed production, but part of the charm, I guess. Really. When you think about it, this is what The Last Words of a Busy Mind stands for. Just the messiness of a production. Okay, as I was saying, like throughout November, I was part of another movie which I talked about in the last episode of the season 9, which was quite a frustrating one. And then afterwards, we got, like literally the day after, we got involved with another movie which I was the second assistant director in it. I'm gonna keep saying that because I don't know why, I just like qualifying what roles I have in movies. Again, part of that OCD charm. But throughout all of that, I kept just writing these entries, and again, they were good time. Like I'm glad I did it. Not only were they good practice for writing analytically, which I think I'm gonna need very soon, because one of the plans for 2024 is actually to write more videos, and this was a good attempt at writing video adjacent material. Which is always good. You can never have enough practice when it comes to analyzing, and because of that, I had a good time. Like, Mafia May in November will probably signify busyness, and I don't mean Business. I mean Busynness. I don't know if that's even a word, but I was very busy throughout November, and this signifies that the fact that everything about it is just a little bit off and a little bit late means that I was super busy while I made this. And honestly, in a weird Stockholm Syndrome kind of way, I liked it. It's a good signifier. 2023 in general has been a very busy and hectic year for me. I will talk about it more in the next episode, but I have 2 minutes and I'm gonna do a little bit of a teaser for that, because it is the end of the year. It's been a hectic year. It had so many other stuff happening to me, and I need to learn time management, but also I need to do a lot of other stuff that I didn't do. But it's been a year that had a lot of stuff happening to me, and I'm glad that I made this part of it as well. It very easily couldn't have been that, but I managed to stick with it, which is not something I can say for a lot of other stuff that I started in 2023. And that's also a good thing to signify the start of season 10, because wow, I've been doing this for 10 seasons. It's surreal to say. And if you want to be a part of it, again, you can send me a message on Spotify for podcasters. Sorry, I need to plug a little bit. And if you listen to this on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. If you listen to this on any other podcast platform, If you listen to this on Castbox, you can't comment there. I do have the app, and notification is on for it. So the other platforms, I don't have an app or any way of actually reading your comments if you've written them. But come back to me and give me some feedback. Especially, go check that PDF. It took a lot of time, and I'm really proud of it. And I hope that there is some value in it for anyone. Like, if you're a fan of Mafia movies, you can revisit some of your favorites. And I will see you next week in 2024.